Good evening and welcome to the Denasha Harrison Show, Intellectual Radio. We are actually broadcasting from TNT Rooftop. Wonderful, wonderful place. On our side of town, as a matter of fact, right?
Yes, sir.
So I was surprised to know that TNT uh, is right here on the west side of Chicago, right off of Madison. So can't wait to get here and try the food. As a matter of fact, we're going to try the food tonight. But you are listening to the Denasha Harrison Show here on Intellectual Radio. Thank you all for joining me, as you always do. Thank you all for supporting the show. A little different setup, and I like it. You know, it's different when you're not inside of the studio. When you actually have people that's around you enjoying themselves, getting that vibe, doing that thing. I really like it. And shout out to Earl and company for setting this up and making this happen. So before earlier, when I started broadcasting, I would always give big ups to those who sponsored the show. And I thought it fitting to have the person who has sponsored the show from the beginning come on this show tonight and say a couple of things about where he is with his journey concerning his business and uh, have the conversation going for a little bit before we talk about other things that are actually going on, not only in Chicago, not only in Dalton, Illinois, but throughout Illinois, uh, throughout where we live at, throughout what we do. There's some things that need to be addressed, and I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. But before I do, today's show is brought to you by.
Up and going mobile dry cleaners.
Okay, Up and Going Mobile Dry Cleaners. So last time we talked, and thank you for supporting the show as you always do. Anthony McMath has had a wonderful journey, interesting journey doing his business. The Chicagoland area, south suburbs, northern Indiana areas where you actually service the people when it comes to your dry cleaning mobile service. And I would like for you to take the time to talk to the people a little bit about how your business has been going. So first of all, it's good to see you.
Good
Always
to
good
see
to
you.
see family.
Good to
So
see you.
uh, tell the people a little bit about your business. Tell the people a little bit about your journey.
A little about the business is it's a dry cleaner, but it's a dry cleaners on wheels. And what that is we come to you instead of you going to the dry cleaners, and we pick up your garments, clean them, bring them back to you, and it's no charge for pickup, no charge for delivery. You can't beat our price, and we been doing this now in the area that I'm in. This is going on a year, but the business has been in existence for over 20 years. But I took a break from it, so now I'm back into it. So far it's going pretty good. Uh, I have a lot of banquet halls that I deal with, funeral homes, uh, hotels,
Restaurants, right?
restaurants,
Okay.
and residential. So it's a business that gets out and get around.
So it's been a while since we actually talked. It's been a while since you've been on the show. For those of you who don't know, if you're just joining the Denash Harrison show, over the past few shows, past few months, if you go back and look at the earlier shows, he was usually the guest on the show. If he wasn't sitting in the studio with me, he was actually on the phone. So, and if he wasn't on the phone or in the studio, you always heard me giving shouts out to Anthony McMath in the business. So, again, appreciate your support. So, what's been going on? I mean, you let the people know where you are. You let the people know what's going on with the business. But um, on a more personal level, how's everything going with you? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm
Okay,
working out every day. I'm hitting. I'll be hitting another year in January,
okay. So
and
you gonna share with the people how young you gonna be?
yeah, I'm gonna be 64 next year.
64.
Yes,
Well, happy 64th, huh?
yeah, yes. And so it's been a good journey, good vibe, good people. People, like I say, I get to meet a lot of people, a lot of different people. People uh, say they never heard of the service before, and so that's a good thing right there because if you got clothes, I'm there.
Okay,
And like you said at the beginning, there's one piece at a time,
that's right.
and the pieces have in common. and they've been accumulating. So I'm never turning down any pieces.
Okay, one piece at a time. I like that. So 64 years young, and you still working out, doing your thing.
Still working out, doing my thing. I often say gravity has no particular person, and it will get you, but it's up to you to allow it to take you. And in my case, I'm not allowing gravity to get me until I can't do no more.
Not yet, huh? Well, we always talk about being 10 toes down and 6 feet above ground, right? So glad you're still around, glad you're still here. And I'm glad you said that because I want to share with the people and I want to share with you. You know, a lot of people, uh, they do what they can to stay on this side of things by ensuring that, we pay attention to our health, right? I always talk about how your health is your wealth. And those are the things that you need to pay attention to, not only for yourself, but the people around you. But I want to share something with you. Death is not our enemy, y'all. And I want to share that with you all. Death is not your enemy. Think about it. It's a transitional process. And if you believe in transition, you believe that, life is everlasting and has no ending, but that you simply change form, then think about the role of that thing which we call death. You go through a lot while you're down here. Some of us have it better than others. Some of us do better at life than others. But at the end of the day, when it is time for you to make that transition, your burden's not your burden anymore, from my understanding. It's a lighter burden. You have those things that are no longer mattering because you're about to transition. So I don't look at death as a negative. I'm not ready to go yet. I got things to do, but I can't call it, right? I need to do what I can do while I'm here, do the best that I can do while I'm here, and figure it out as much as I can while I'm here. But at the end of the day, I don't look at death as an enemy, right?
Right,
So I
right.
look at it as a process that we all have to go through. And until then, we are 6 feet above ground and 10 toes down. And what are you going to do with the life that you have?
That's it.
So thank you for being that inspiration for those of you who I've spoken to before, whether on the show or off the show. Uh, this is my blood uncle, and he's been that inspiration. So he was the one that I saw lifting weights. He was the one that I saw, taking care of the business with, his health, taking care of the business on the block, I should say. No matter how, much you go through as a family, when it's time for family to come together, that's what we did. So again, we are on the west side of Chicago. We are from the west side of Chicago. We grew up on Cicero and Lake, Maypole, Lamont, right, Fulton, Madison, Washington area. So this is literally around the corner from where we grew up at as kids. So shout out to all of you who are from the west side. And again, this TNT rooftop is a really nice spot. They got a lot of opportunities for you to come here and enjoy some good food, good ambiance, and there's actually a lot of dietary choices that they offer on the menu as well. Whether you eat meat or you don't, they got some vegan selections as well. So if you do have the opportunity, come check out TNT. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of this and doing more of this after the show. And maybe not tonight, but at some point, I will be back here again. And Intellectual Radio, TNT, they putting things together like this. I'm gonna be on time every time for my show. If you're gonna give me a venue like this to come to, I'm looking for the next venue. I'm gonna talk to Earl about where we're gonna go next. So, but thank you for coming, and I really appreciate all the support that you've done, not only through your business, because I am a customer as well as, an advocate for family. But I really appreciate all the things that you have been to me beyond the business that we're talking about. If it wasn't for this man and other family members sitting here today, with all the things that we had to go through to get through what we got through, I really appreciate all the support that you've given. So thank you for being that big unk, right? Thank you for being an upright businessman and being black and white about the business, not only concerning up and going or up and coming, but about life as well. So I just want to, give you your flowers before your 64th birthday, and we're gonna talk about where we're gonna go and celebrate your 64th birthday. Matter of fact, are you staying in the city? Are you going anywhere? What's going on with your birthday? What's the plan? share with the people what the plan is so we can meet you wherever you're going to be at.
Well, one thing about when you pass 50, you don't plan nothing.
Oh, that's not true. I'm
It,
past
it,
50. I made plans. I
when it
made plans
comes,
for
well,
my
okay,
51st.
I'm way past
For
50.
you,
I'm way
you
past
might
50.
not plan,
So I'm 63.
but you may not
Right.
plan
I
it.
mean, no,
Okay,
no.
so tell the people why you don't plan
Well,
anything.
I don't plan because a lot of times when you plan stuff, sometimes it don't come out like that. So me personally, when it comes, it comes. When it happens, it happens. Because it's good to plan. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with planning, but so much stuff going on now. You may plan something and something may happen. Well, you cannot attend that or make that uh, that reservation that you did. Now, if you plan to, like, if I want to come here to TNT and I reserve, yeah, I can do that.
Okay,
But
I think this would be a good place for your
yeah,
birthday. Actually,
yeah,
I
we'll be
really
on the
do.
west side.
Okay,
I always tell people the west side is the best side.
of course it
Like
is.
he said, we grew up on the west side. When I had hair, I used to go to Jones Barbershop down here on Madison Street. So um, it's just the west side. I remember Moo and Oink over here. Uh,
Right off of Madison and
yeah,
Cicero.
I remember Buddy Bear on Cicero Lake.
Right, right.
Yeah, so but
Okay.
this is beautiful. Rooftop. It's a nice thing you got going over here. So I don't plan, but I might plan to come over here
Okay.
with my nephew,
There you go.
and we may get something going on
Yeah,
over
we're
there on
gonna
the
do something.
rooftop.
What? That's what it's Capricorn season, right?
Capricorn.
Okay, so
Yes,
I mean that's okay.
that's okay.
Not a tourist, but that's all right. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing something with you. Why
Well,
not?
well, we both got horns.
That's right.
Yeah, we
That's
both
right.
got
We
horns.
both got those horns.
Right.
So you talked about you know the whole planning thing. I know for me, I talk a lot on the show about circles,
Mm-hmm.
making sure that if your circle's big or if your circle's small, you just have to make sure that people in your circle are doing you right and that you're doing the people in your circle right.
There you go.
So, and what I mean by that is simply this: if you're giving more than you're receiving in that circle, then you might want to look at changing people out in your circle. If you're receiving more than you're giving, then you need to check yourself about that circle as well. And so with that, I know for myself, I do plan somewhat when it comes to my birthdays, but my birthdays usually falling on a weekday. And so what I do, what's been a practice for me, I set an agenda for myself, and I do a lot of things by myself, so that if there's anything that doesn't go the way I feel it should go on that day, I can't point at anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can't put you in the loop to try to disappoint me on my birthday either. So we might do something on the weekend. We might get something in, get something done. But I do understand what you mean by being very careful to not plan so much, or just be blessed that you see another day.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
Mm-hmm.
for those who have the time, who want to do something for you, want to do something with you, if you get a chance, then let us love on you a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So because you mean a lot to me, you mean a lot to the people that's in our circle, right? So, but happy birthday, Unc.
Thank you. Thank you.
Make sure that your circle stay tight. I know you have a tight circle as it is.
Oh,
And make sure that the people in your circle are doing the things that they need to be doing for
thank
you.
you, nephew.
So, with that, I want to share a little bit about what I experienced just on today. So, sitting in the barbershop today, politics came up. One of the best places to speak
There you go.
about politics is in the shop. However, I got there. I was in a hurry. Had to get to where I had to be. Had to be here on the Denasha Harrison show. My barber wasn't available. Boom. Had to go around the corner. Met a wonderful brother by the name of Ra, who's actually going to be on the show, which is pretty cool. And we chopped it up a little bit about the politics. And one thing he was telling me was how many people um, are not going to vote for one of the candidates. Now, what I do is I share my opinion. I express how I feel. You all know who I'm voting for, but I don't try to sway anyone to vote one way or another because it's not my vote to give. It's not my vote to cast. I only have one vote to cast, and that's my own. Now, with that, I'm not trying to get into the negatives and positives about Trump versus Kamala and all this other stuff. Not right now, at least. But Me and the barber was talking about how there's a lot of brothers who are coming in, not having the facts, not understanding the actual records of both of the candidates. And for me, it's a no-brainer when it comes when it involves the records of both candidates. So as you all know, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, and I believe that she has a stronger record than most. Not only stronger than the candidate that's running against her, but over the years she's had a strong record as a district attorney in California, as the attorney general, as a senator, as a vice president. And a lot of people are knocking her because of the policies that she's not really rolling out. But I'd like to share with people, if you are the vice president of the United States, you serve at the pleasure of the president of the United States. And you have different programs and different things that you do as the vice president, but she actually still has a job as a VP. So for her to roll out any agenda that may be contrary to the agenda of the serving president, it doesn't work that way. A lot of people want to hear more from her about what her policies are. A lot of people want to hear more from her about how she's going to go about handling some of the issues that are the concerns are on the minds of most Americans. Let's take immigration, for example. Well, there was a bipartisan bill on the table for immigration. It did not pass because they killed it in the House. Now, this was a bill that both parties were getting behind. Again, it was bipartisan. Now, a lot of people want to knock the current president, to include the vice president, for uh, a lack of border security. But there was something on the table that got killed in the House because of the Republican nominee. And so people want to point fingers at the things that are wrong, but they don't look at the facts of why things are the way they are. And so I would never 100% stand behind someone simply because I don't believe that someone has my views 100%. I would never vote a party ticket simply because I'm aligning myself with the party. You have to vote for what makes sense. You have to vote for uh, what's in front of you concerning the facts. And from my experience and from what I've seen, there's a lot of people that are not doing their homework regarding their vote. I believe that a person's vote is very, very important. I believe that it's a sacred duty for you to vote. I believe that if you abstain from voting, that is your choice because it's yours. However, if you abstain from voting one way or another, then you're not allowing your voice to be heard and you're not aligning your voice with those other voices that you may agree with if you abstain from voting. I believe that a person should cast their vote towards the individual that's actually aligned with their views and their opinions the most. So that's how I feel about it. But we had some really interesting conversation in the barbershop, and it it helps me to understand that there's no such thing as a sure win. Okay, the current vice president is not just going to be a shoe in. We have to do our part if that's who you're going to vote for. Uh, and if you're not going to vote, then you should know. If you're not going to vote for that individual, then you should know why. If you're going to abstain from voting, then that means that the issues that are facts don't really matter to you much. And unfortunately, that's just how some people are. Some of these things just don't matter. They feel like their vote doesn't count, but I disagree. I feel like when you actually put your vote towards uh, what you believe in and you allow your voice to be heard, then the electoral college does what they do based on the information that they get from you to cast those votes. So a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about how the process works. No matter how you feel the process works, no matter how you feel about the different policies that are going on, I think it's important for you to be heard. And if you don't want to be heard at the ballot box, then miss me with all that conversation that you're having outside of you exercising your right. Express yourself all you want, but don't tell me how to fix things if you're not going to put your hat in the ring to actually help to get it fixed. So that's just my opinion. I don't know how you feel about it.
I feel that what you just said, um, if you're not going to vote, your opinion, like you said, you have your opinion,
Right. You have your
but
opinion.
why come crying or complaining when you had the opportunity
To
to
help
make
make a
that
difference.
change?
Right.
So there's only two people that's running for the White House, and we know a lot about one of them, and we're just learning about the other one. So just to keep it plain and simple, if I have to cross over this river or this lake and there's crocodiles in it, and I know it's crocodiles in it, but I'm gonna try to run across knowing I'm gonna get bit. So I'm gonna walk around where it's safer for me to get across this stream. So now you know it's a crocodile. Why would you
Get in that lake.
get in that stream? So like I said, it's only two people that's running for the White House. And we already know one and we're learning the other one.
Well, that's an interesting point, and that's one of the examples that I'm about one because of all the you know previous things that you know his talk show, the casino, not his talk show, but his TV show, uh, uh, the casinos, the businesses, things of that nature. We've heard about him in our lifetime.
Right.
So I don't hear anybody talking about the Central Park Five like they should be talking about the Central Park Five. And if you don't know what the Central Park Five was all about, it was about the five brothers that were accused of raping and
Right,
beating
right,
someone in
right,
Central
right,
Park.
right, right, right.
And the article that he took out about how
Have
he
them, have them.
exactly.
Yep.
So now we do know about those things and we hear about those things. And you said we're learning about the other, and that's the point that I want to get to. Kamala's been on the set, on the scene for a long time. She's been on the scene for a long time doing great things for the people of California and for this nation, but it's not out there in the public mainstream. So you have to do a little bit more to kind of
Mm-hmm.
find that out.
Mm-hmm.
If you wasn't living in California when she was a DA or serving as the attorney general, if you didn't follow her as a senator,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not following her as a VP, then you may feel like there's more to learn about her. Now, for me personally, I think I know more about her than most because that's just how I am with following who I follow. Um, but the information's out there. That's my point. The information's out there. Um, we like those things that are entertaining. We like those things that are bombastic. If you open up YouTube, the first thing you see is the bombastic stuff that Trump said yesterday or a couple of minutes ago, and I believe that that's a huge distraction, and that those distractions are gaining momentum. A lot of people are not paying attention to the things that they should be paying attention to regarding the policies, regarding where people stand on something. When somebody asks the Republican nominee where he stands on things, he never gives the answer that a person's asking the question about, right? And when you look at questions that Kamala is being asked, again, she has to align herself with the policies of the president because she still has a job. She's not like a regular old candidate where she can, say or do a lot of things contrary to the policies that she's actually in line to help implement
Right,
or
because she's the vice president right now.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, we know a lot about one. A lot of people have to learn about the other. I honestly feel like the information's out there before you throw your vote away by not voting or before you cast your vote. Educate yourself. And you know what? Honestly, if you feel like walking in a stream or a lake full of crocodiles, that's your right to do. You may feel like there's some advantage to that for you. But I do believe that self love goes a long way. And I believe that if I decide to get in a lake or a stream full of crocodiles or full of danger, somehow, some way, I'm not loving myself like I should.
Mm.
So I can't show you love if I'm not showing
There you
myself
go.
love.
There you go.
So again, I'm not going to 100% line up behind anybody, probably because I have views that would probably shock people.
Mm.
I have views about politics that a lot of people may not line up behind, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. We can be cordial when we don't agree on the same things. 9 times out of 10, what you're talking about and what I'm talking about is the same thing, but we're just talking about it in different
Mm-hmm.
ways. You want to make sure that your people that you love and care about are safe. You want to make sure that your home is paid for, that everything is caught up, right? You want to make sure that your refrigerator is full. You want to make sure that there's peace, not only in your home, but on your block, right? You want to make sure that there's some type of return for all the hard work that you put into something. And I think at the end of the day, no matter where you align yourself with politically, that everybody pretty much wants the same thing. So how you present it is the rub. That's the challenge, right? You can't talk over people, and you can't, belittle people. You just have to find that finite line to ensure that people understand where you're coming from and what you're doing, which brings me to another point. For those of you who don't know, I am running for trustee, right, of Dalton. And it's been an amazing journey. It's a very um, busy time, but I believe in what I'm doing. And I believe that, as I continue to run this race for my candidacy for trustee in Dalton, that, you know, people are going to hear the things that are important about their village. A lot of people are tired of hearing about, the trustees. They're tired of hearing about Tiffany Henyard. They're tired of hearing about all the mess that's out there or allegedly out there. What's important is what somebody's going to bring to the table for the people. What's important is finding out where the tax money did go and finding out how those 400 plus houses are going to get filled, finding out how those water meters that are supposedly free are going to get installed. Like, what's the plan? What's the plan to bring businesses into Dalton? Are we going to solicit um, outside businesses to take care of the business in Dalton? Or are we going to listen to the people in Dalton who actually wants to start businesses in the place, but somebody just needs to pick up the phone on the other end at the village to make sure that they get the permits to do what to do the things that they want to do. So there's a lot at stake, not only with the presidential race. There's a lot at stake in Dalton and other villages that are like Dalton. Dalton's not the only place that's having issues right now. Dalton's not the only small village that's having problems. All across, all across Illinois and all across the Midwest, you got folk misappropriating other people's money. So you got folks not being transparent. You got the lack of communication that's causing heartburn when it comes to people who are 60, 70, 80 years old that's worked hard for what they have. And now they're trying to figure out why has their taxes more than doubled and how is it that they're going to keep the properties that they've worked so hard for. And it's important to address those things. Now, nobody's saying that one person has all the answers. But I think one thing that people can do is trust that they should have some type of respect, dignity, fiscal responsibility. There should be some type of communication and transparency so that you know what you're facing. You should be able to understand what you're up against in order to help others get to yes about the things that you care about. One thing that I haven't seen in the village of Dalton that I live in is I haven't seen a lot of transparency. I haven't seen a lot of two, three, four-way communication. I haven't seen a lot of people coming to the table. What I've seen is a lot of finger pointing. I've seen a lot of people blaming this person, blaming that person. What I've seen is I've seen legislators waiting for election time to start doing things around the community. There's this one house, and um, shout out to Cassandra Hobson Jordan, that's running for mayor of Dalton. I believe I can get behind the policies that she's talking about because she is for the people. I've seen that since I've known her. And if you talk to the neighborhood, she's the one that's in the alley cutting grass, cutting grass back. She's doing things out in the community, not for herself, but for her neighbors. She wants to make sure that their neighbors don't get fines and tickets because of what's growing over the fence line and, you know, the height of the grass, things of that nature. She's out there doing it. So she's putting, she's putting the rubber to the road, right? She's putting her money where her mouth is. And that's why I can get behind somebody like Cassandra Hobson Jordan, who's running for mayor in Dalton, because she's going to tell you straight up, she's black and white. She's going to communicate with you. Whether it's something you like or something that you don't, she's going to let you know what it is, and she's going to let you know where she stands, and she's going to let you know why. Now, whether people agree with her policies or the incumbent's policies, whoever's running for what, whether I agree with you or not, I should know where you stand. And when I see legislators, trustees out and about right before election time, I have to be suspicious about that. When I see that there's information being shared with the people right before it's time for the elections to go, I'm suspicious about it. You've been sitting in that seat for years, and maybe you have been getting the work done behind the scenes, but the people, if you have been doing something for the people behind the scenes, then the people should not be sitting in the dark, not knowing what you've been doing. And what I've seen is just that. There's a lot of people who say, well, you know what? This choice is better than that choice. So I'm going to go with this choice. But you still don't know about this choice that you got sitting in front of you. I'm talking about the person that's running for mayor in Dalton. That's Jason House. So, if you're doing good, keep doing good. But if you're not transparent with the people, then how can the people really get behind you to do something for them that should have been done years ago? And if you are actually doing for the people, then it just should be transparent. And if you feel like you're being transparent, then you don't have your pulse on what's really going on around the area. So that's my opinion. I'm sharing it. That's how I feel because I'm there. A lot of people don't understand how it feels to actually be there, living there. You can see it on YouTube all day, right? You can see it on the Channel 9, Channel 7, Channel 5 news, whatever other news is broadcasting it. You can see it all day. But when you actually live there, you can actually feel that type of energy. When you actually going around knocking on doors, talking to people, they're really concerned about what the future holds for them and their assets and the place that they decide to settle in. So very important for me to continue on this journey. And it's very important for the people that I'm affiliated with to continue on this journey as well. And we're going to go ahead and see this through because guess what? If you do or don't win the seat, you're still changing things. You're still shaking things up. For me, it's more important for people to understand where I'm coming from and what I have to offer to help than it is to sit there and collect a paycheck and not do anything at all. So I believe that it's very important whether you have a seat and you're running for something, you have a position or you don't, you're a citizen of an area that you should hope is better now than before you got there. I feel like you should always leave a place better than you found it. And I believe that if you're going to complain about something that you don't feel is going right, that you should actually get in there and help make a difference, help make some change. Get involved the right way. Because you got a lot of people that get involved, but they're agitators, right? They get involved to disrupt. They get involved to divide. They get involved to just stir up mess. And that's not the type of involvement that we need or want or what we're talking about right here. We're